The FA-18 Super Hornet screams through enemy airspace at Mach 1.2, warning lights flooding the cockpit in angry red. Two surface-to-air missiles track from below. The radio crackles with desperate voices. Her wingman is already down, ejected somewhere over hostile territory. Command is screaming for her to abort. The mission is collapsing. Lieutenant Mia Carson's hands shake on the stick, not from fear, from something worse. From the voices in her head that have haunted her since flight school. You don't belong here. You're just a diversity checkbox. You'll get someone killed. The missile lock warning screams. She has 3 seconds to decide. Abort and leave her wingman to die, or push forward into a situation she wasn't trained for, one that will expose the very weakness everyone at Top Gun whispered about behind her back. She can't handle pressure. She freezes. Subscribe to Her Force Tales and drop a comment telling us which country you're watching from. We love connecting with our global community. The first missile impacts her left engine. Everything goes to hell. Mia Carson wasn't supposed to be here. A pastor's daughter from a small town in Nebraska, she'd grown up quiet, obedient, practically invisible. In high school, she was the girl who ate lunch alone, who got shoved into lockers, whose prom invitation was a cruel joke that ended with her crying in a bathroom stall while everyone laughed outside. She joined the Navy to disappear into something bigger than herself. Nobody expected her to make it through flight school. Nobody expected her to become a fighter pilot. And when she did, they made damn sure she never forgot she was an outsider. What nobody knew, what Mia never told anyone, was that her father wasn't just a pastor. He was former Air Force Special Operations, a combat controller who'd spent 15 years jumping behind enemy lines. And when Mia was 8 years old and too scared to sleep because of the bullies at school, he'd started teaching her something to build her confidence. Survival, evasion, resistance, escape. By age 16, Mia could navigate by stars, survive in wilderness for weeks with nothing, evade trained trackers, resist interrogation techniques, and escape from restraints. Her father had trained Navy SEALs. He'd made it a game with his daughter, but he'd never gone easy. Being small, being quiet, being underestimated, that's not weakness, baby girl. That's camouflage. She'd mastered skills most fighter pilots never learned, skills nobody at Top Gun even knew existed in her arsenal, because Mia Carson had spent her whole life being invisible. And invisible people know how to survive. The cockpit fills with smoke. The ejection warning blares. Mia's jet is dying, spiraling toward the mountains of hostile territory, the same mountains where her wingman, Lieutenant Jake Morrison, went down 4 minutes ago. Her mind flashes to 3 weeks ago. The briefing room. Commander Hastings slamming the tactical report on the table, his eyes boring into her. You hesitated, Carson. 2 seconds. In combat, your wingmen would be dead. The other pilots had smirked. Morrison had looked away for her. They'd nicknamed her Glass because she'd shatter under pressure. Every simulation, every exercise, she'd proven them right. Technically perfect, but when chaos hit, she froze. You don't have the killer instinct. You're too soft. The altimeter screams. 8,000 feet, 7,000. She could eject, should eject. Command is ordering her to eject. But Morrison is down there, alone, injured, in enemy territory crawling with hostiles. Negative, Command, Mia whispers, her voice steady for the first time in weeks. I'm going in. She fights the dying aircraft down, pushing it toward a valley her training says shouldn't exist on the maps, but her father's voice in her head says we'll be there. Hidden waterways always carve hidden valleys. The jet shreds trees, impacts hard, cartwheel across a ravine. Mia tastes blood, feels ribs crack. Then silence. She comes to upside down, harness cutting into her shoulders, smoke filling the cockpit. Training takes over. Not Navy training, father's training. Mia releases the harness, controls her fall, rolls and extracts herself from the wreckage in 40 seconds flat. She grabs her survival pack, her sidearm, and vanishes into the tree line just as voices echo from the ridge above. Enemy patrol. 12, maybe 15 hostiles, moving fast toward the crash site. The old Mia, Glass, would panic, would freeze, would wait for rescue that wouldn't come in time. But something has shifted.
The cockpit, the missiles, the impact. It burned away the girl who cared what they thought. That girl died in the crash. This is someone else now. Mia moves through the forest like a ghost, no broken branches, no tracks. Her father's voice guides every step. Small and quiet isn't weakness, it's tactical advantage. She reaches Morrison's crash site in 30 minutes, navigating by stars and terrain analysis. He's unconscious, legs shattered, hidden poorly beneath his parachute. The enemy patrol is 8 minutes behind her. She can hear their radios. She can't carry him. He outweighs her by 80 pounds. The terrain is too rough. This is impossible. This is exactly what her father trained her for. Mia works fast. She fashions a travois from parachute cord and branches, using mechanical advantage and leverage points her SERE training drilled into her. She secures Morrison, masks their trail using water from a nearby stream, and sets up 3 false trails with scent markers torn from the seat cushions. Then she does what nobody expects. She doesn't run away from the enemy. She moves parallel to their patrol, then behind them, using their own noise to mask her movement. She's so close at one point she can smell their cigarettes. They pass within 10 feet, arguing in Farsi about which direction the pilot went. They never see her, never hear her. By dawn, she's moved Morrison 6 miles. The enemy patrol is searching in the wrong valley. And that's when her radio crackles. Any Allied forces, this is Reaper 6, enemy mechanized unit moving into your valley, estimate 20 minutes to your position. If you're alive, now would be a good time to signal. Morrison stirs, conscious now, staring at Mia like he's seeing her for the first time. Carson, how did you... Save your strength, she says quietly. We're not out yet. The valley narrows into a canyon. Behind them, vehicle engines echo, technical trucks with mounted guns. Ahead, the canyon ends in a cliff. 200-foot drop to a river below. They're trapped. Morrison's face goes pale. Mia, I can't walk. You have to leave me. Not happening. That's an order, Lieutenant. She ignores him, her mind racing through options. The old Mia would freeze now, would shut down, would prove everyone right.
But her father's final lesson echoes in her mind. When there's no way out, you make one. Mia spots it. A rock formation, weathered limestone, water erosion patterns. She moves to the cliff edge, looking down. The river below is deep, fast-moving. The jump would kill most people. But most people didn't spend 6 years cliff diving with a former special operations instructor who believed fear was just data. She secures Morrison in a rescue harness, ties it to her own, uses parachute cord to create a controlled descent anchor point through a rock chimney, a technique called a munter hitch that mountaineers use. The vehicles are 2 minutes out now, kicking up dust. "You're insane," Morrison breathes. "Yeah, I've heard that before," Mia says. She calculates angles, water depth, impact velocity. 3 seconds to do math that should take 3 minutes. Then she steps off the cliff. They drop together, controlled for the first 60 feet by the cord, then free-falling the last 140. Mia adjusts their angle mid-fall, protecting Morrison's injured leg, positioning herself to take the impact. They hit the water at just the right angle. The river swallows them, violent and freezing. Mia holds Morrison's head above water, lets the current carry them downstream, away from the canyon, away from the enemy vehicles whose soldiers are now staring over the cliff in disbelief. 20 minutes later, a Navy rescue helicopter pulls them from the river 7 miles downstream. Morrison is barely conscious, but he's gripping Mia's hand like she's the only real thing in the world. "How did you... Nobody taught us." "No," Mia says softly. "They didn't." 3 days later, the briefing room is silent. Commander Hastings stands at the front, his face unreadable. Every pilot from the squadron is present. Morrison sits in a wheelchair, leg casted, eyes locked on Mia. "Lieutenant Carson," Hastings begins, and Mia braces for the reprimand. She violated orders, risked her aircraft, went against protocol. But Hastings does something she's never seen before. He salutes her. "I've been flying for 23 years," he says quietly. "I've never seen anything like what you did. Navy SEER Command reviewed your actions. They said your evasion and survival techniques were on par with Tier 1 Special Operations personnel. SEALs are requesting your training records to understand how you acquired those skills." He pauses, and his voice cracks just slightly. "You saved Lieutenant Morrison's life using skills none of us knew you had. Because we never asked. We never looked. We saw what we expected to see, instead of who you actually were." Morrison wheels forward. His eyes are red. "I called you glass. I was part of the problem. You're the toughest person I've ever met, and I'm sorry I was too stupid to see it." One by one, the other pilots stand. Some are crying. All of them are looking at Mia with something she's never seen before. Respect. Hastings hands her a folder. "This is a letter of commendation for the Congressional Record and a recommendation for the Navy Cross. But more than that, Carson, this is an apology. From me, from this squadron. We failed you long before you saved Morrison." Mia feels the tears coming, but she doesn't hide them anymore. "I spent my whole life being invisible, being underestimated, being the girl nobody saw. And I learned that being underestimated is the most powerful weapon nobody knows you have." She looks at each of them. "I didn't save Morrison despite being small or quiet or soft. I saved him because of who I am, because my father taught me that strength isn't about being loud. It's about being ready when everyone else gives up." The room erupts in applause. Later, alone in her quarters, Mia finds a voice message from her father. He's heard the news. His voice is thick with pride. "You always had everything you needed, baby girl. You just had to stop letting them tell you who you were." Mia Carson closes her eyes and smiles. For the first time in her life, she's not invisible. She's legendary.
Before you go, tell us in the comments which country are you watching this video from. And don't forget to subscribe to Her Force Tales for more incredible stories and hit like, share, and comment to support the channel.